Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to RC Video Reviews. It is Friday, November 17th. I hope you all had a fantastic week. I can tell you I've been busy. One-legged man at a butt kicking contest going on around here. It's been crazy. Dan Griffiths, new player in the first game, huh, Dan? Good job, man. You teaching the old timers how it goes, huh? So Dan was in first. Robert was a quick second. And you both hit the like button, I hope. Everyone make sure you hit that like button on the way in. That'd be cool. Fast Freddy. Fred, man, sometimes I get excited and hit the button twice. I still like what he said last week. He said, I identify as first. That was pretty funny. Maybe it was a week before, but that was still pretty funny, Fred. Drummond, good to see you. Mitch Gentry, hello. I Fly for Fun is here. How you doing? Patrick Henry, bring on the show. Well, the show's here. We're ready to go. Gordon Goff, hello from Washington, he says. William Tam is here. Hello. HB Jeff, our resident problem finder. Jeff comes up with the weirdest stuff. I don't know how he does it, but he finds weird stuff. Shane is here. How you doing, Shane? Good to see you. The David Knutz from the great state of Texas. David, how you doing, my friend? Laura Harth is here. Hello, Miss Laura. And that's about it. If you pop in on the show, make sure you say hello in the chat so we know who's out there. Spin Launch Glide is here. Hi all. Been away in the homeland. Very nice. Buttermilk 3696 says hello. Okay, very good. Man, what a week. It's been busy and it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. We're going to cover the week in review first, and we have some content tonight. So pour yourself a drink, put your feet up and relax. We got some things to cover. Not a whole lot of technical stuff, but man, we've got some content to cover. I can tell you that. All right, first up, we had a bunch of first look videos this week. FMS is back at it. They've got some stuff going on. They sent me, I put the Futura flight video for the 64 millimeter in case you forgot about that plane. That little 64 millimeter is amazing. I was fortunate enough to get my hands on the 80 millimeter Futura, which I think will be very similar to the Avanti. And if you guys follow the channel, you know I like that Avanti. And I think the Futura is just going to be every bit as good. We will see. I don't like to judge beforehand. And I want to point something out. If you guys were not aware, this is where the cool kids hang out. It's the PilotJam, right? This is where the insiders, the people closest to the channel, it's where they hang out. If you were not aware of this, I try to not watch review videos of models or products that I'm going to review. And the reason that I do that is, number one, I want my opinion to be mine. I don't want it to be influenced by other scenarios. Number two, when it comes to the product, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this thing in just a minute, but when it comes to the product, I like when you're doing a review, you have to use the product the way the manufacturer intends, because that's the way the vast majority of the people consuming the product are going to use it, unless they go out and do the homework and research. Okay, so we have a pretty bright group of people that hang around the channel. A lot of you guys know how to go out and do the research. You know where to look. You know to go check out RC groups. You know to come here. You know you have YouTube channels you trust. So you know how to do a little bit of research, but not everyone does that. And the other thing I like to do is, you guys know one of my rules, my governance rules, is do what you say you're going to do. So if you give me an airplane and you say the CG is 125 millimeters, then I expect to fly it at 120, did I say 125? 125 millimeters. Then I expect it to fly at 125 millimeters. That's what I expect. Also, as a reviewer, I'm kind of obligated to fly and demonstrate the product without modification, because you have to show the manufacturer's product, right? And then you assess that. Now, after I've done that, then it's fair game, right? Then the plane becomes mine and I can do what I want. I can manipulate it, massage it, adjust it, say, I don't like that, I disagree. But my objective always is to try and fly the model the way the book describes it. Now, obviously, there are exceptions to that rule. Like if they say something that's just patently stupid in the book, like I use a CG, I put it up on that CG and it's way tail heavy, you know, I'll make adjustments. You have to use your knowledge, right, in those cases. But I just wanted to let you guys know that number one, I do avoid watching other review videos before I review it. After I review it, that's a different story altogether. I might go check some stuff out. I might look for some tips and tricks, you know, that kind of thing is true. But anyway, I wanted to let you guys know that, because as I put some of the FMS stuff together, some people came in and made mention of issues that they saw on other channels. And by the way, we're also not all on the same skill level. Like my skills may be higher or lower than some other review channel in terms of in flight. So my ability to fly tail heavy might be a little different than somebody else's, for example. So with that in mind, I do try and follow the book. That's the objective, at least initially, and then subsequent to the book. Then, then we tinker with it and play with it. Okay, so anyway, that was the Futura first look. I do have very high hopes for that jet. I hope it performs as well as the Avanti. The Avanti V2 is really good. The Avanti, that's a good airplane. And I have high hopes the Futura will perform as well. Next up is the Pitts. And I'm going to tell you guys, the Pitts, I have a love-hate thing with biplanes, to be honest with you. I like the way they look. If you look at, like, if you knew me, right, if you saw my cars and my history and my motorcycles in my past, you'd see that I have a tendency to go for what I consider to be elegant form in a vehicle, in a model, in a vehicle, motorcycle, whatever. And for example, I really like Harley baggers. Now, I'm not saying the Harley bagger is the most precise two-wheeled motorcycle instrument on the highway. That's not what I'm saying. I just like the way they look and I like the way they sound. But they're also pretty good. But if you were to compare a Harley to a Goldwing, for example, I think you'd find the Goldwing is a little more like a Swiss watch, where the Harley's a little more like a sledgehammer. And so anyway, that's the way I feel about the biplanes. The biplanes, I like the way they look. I like their stance. I like how that Pitts has got that real short tail moment, a lot of wing area. Looks like it's going to be a real flippy floppy plane. I'll tell you another one that I really liked the looks of was the Dynam Waco. That was a good looking airplane too. Love the way that airplane looked. The hate part with the biplanes that I have is that they're huge and they take a lot of space when you're transporting them to the field. And it's not a lot of fun usually to break the wings down. I know, like the Peregrines and the from Extreme Flight, for example, they break down kind of somewhat easy. But the most of them you're gonna be dealing with at least 2 sets of screws, the wing supports, maybe some cable, structure supports, that kind of stuff. So I tend to leave those together when I take them to the field, and the biplanes just take up a lot of space. That's the hate part of them. But anyway, I've seen the Pitts. I've known about the Pitts for quite a while. I've been very interested to try it out, and we're going to get a chance. So we got the first look video done, and I want to mention something about the Pitts. This is one of those things where I told you I try and avoid doing too many reviews ahead of time because I want to do my own thing. But one thing that I saw mentioned multiple times on the video was, hey, take care of the battery tray because they do pop loose. I found this little guy on Thingiverse, and it is a battery tray. So it's a battery tray latch. And bottom line is you have these pieces that you basically glue into the side. There's a little magnet cup right there. And I think it probably just sets down just like that on top. So it's magnetized, and that's meant to keep that battery tray from sliding out. I heard that from a lot of people, so I took that to heart, and I went ahead and made this. I'll put this in the Pitts. But outside of that, I'm going to try and not do some of the other things that people are talking about because I want to see how it does based on the book, based on what the manufacturer says. Okay, so that's it on the Pitts. That one we'll be maidening that tomorrow, actually, and I'm curious about that plane. I think a lot of people seem to have a high opinion on how that plane flies, so we'll see. It should be fun. And then next up is another one. Boy, talk about hitting the marks with me. FMS also sent me the F-16. And you guys, if you follow the channel, you know the 64 millimeter F-16 was not great. It wasn't great. The in-air was okay. The ground handling was pretty rough. And I said so in the video because it didn't have a rudder. So what happens is you're going down the runway. As soon as you get that weight off the nose wheel, that's it. You can't steer it anymore. You're at the whim of the wind and whichever way the plane wants to go until you're off the ground. So no rudder on that one versus that 64 millimeter, that little guy right there, that airplane's tight. That's got a steerable nose wheel, and you can run that one right down the center line of the runway, no problem. So anyway, the 70 millimeter F-16 is ready to go. That one's got the reflex V2 gyro, and I have very high hopes that plane at least flies correctly. I don't have high hopes that I'm going to see some kind of crazy endurance. I'm sure it won't fly for 7 minutes. I'm sure of all of that. But man, I love the F-16. And this is I'm going to raise a glass to my Uncle Matt. My Uncle Matt is, when I was a kid, he was the one that got me into aviation. And one of the very first things that he got me was a F-16 Thunderbird edition Revel model. And I remember that plane to this day. And I remember going to the hobby shop with him and getting it with my cousin Matt as well. And I remember getting that plane, and I fell in love with it. I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. And we went back to his house and we made the model and built it together, and I just loved it. So it's a hats off to Uncle Matt for that one. And I hope the F-16 performs well. I'd love to keep an F-16 in my hangar. So that will be coming up tomorrow as well. And then next up was the Black Friday. If you didn't see that video, you got to go check that one out. The Black Friday video, I basically went through my buy list on the year and anything that I thought I would buy again. If I didn't have it, or if I ran out, or if I needed it again, I'd buy it again. So I went through my stuff, my purchase history on Amazon, and put together like this massive RC holiday gift giving guide for radio control. So if you are into radio control and you have access to Amazon, make sure you check out that video. Lots of good stuff in there, including the VenLab multimeter, the GPS, some tools and connectors, and all kinds of good stuff. Crimpers, heat shrink crimpers, all kinds of good stuff in that video. If you didn't see that one, make sure you check that out. And then finally, we have the PilotJam. So that's it on the week. So 5 videos this week on a 7-day week. That's not bad. You guys are doing pretty well. And I've got more coming. I just simply ran out of daylight. I just simply ran out of daylight. So we have a lot more coming. All right, I'm going to check comments, and then we're going to get into material. I've got material for you. We have a lot of material. So pour a drink, get a bowl of popcorn, relax. We're going to cover some stuff. Let's see. Good evening from Utah. So it's Tom Evans. How you doing, Tom? Glad you can make it. Let's see. Michael, let's see. Fargnolis. Good evening, John. Thanks for the VM600 lead. I appreciate affordable, useful tools. Yeah, I do too, man. That's a good one. That's a good one. And, you know, I'm not an electronics ninja, but before I started even investigating that one, I did go out and read the reviews on that one, and I bought one for myself and tried it out and compared it to the 87.5, and it's good. So I'm glad you find some use in that one. Dan says, I really like my old GP61 reactor biplane. Yeah, biplanes, there's something about them, right? And they look cool in the sky too. They're just, the cool thing about bipes is you can cruise with them, and they'll get aggressive. They'll get aggressive. They look big, but they'll get aggressive. Hobie says, I have a bunch of stuff in my cart from Black Friday video. Good for you, Shane. Buy it out, man. Don't waste too much time either. I'll tell you what, we do sell them out. We do sell stuff out. I know the 6S balance leads, the multi, it's actually 2 to 6S balance leads. Those things sold out in like 2 days. So I get a little bit of information. I don't know who buys what or where it's going, but they do tell me how many of something that was sold. So I know on those 6S balance lead, we went through 46 of those. We sold them out in like 2 days. And then I found another source and we sold them out too. So yeah, if you see stuff on one of those videos, go after it, man, because that stuff is not going to last. Let's see. Oh, those T-nuts are called blind nuts. I know. That's what Robert, when I started searching for the blind nuts, they didn't show up that way. T-nuts is what they came out. I don't know why. They just what they called them. I always used to call them blind nuts too. I still do, but that's how you find them on Amazon. So it's not what we think. It's what the Goog thinks, what the mind, the AI thinks. Kevin says, when are you going to do a flight on the FMS 1400? Tomorrow, Kevin. Tomorrow we're going to get that pits up in the air. And hopefully we'll come back with some video footage for you. I've got another FMS plane to cover too. That won't be flying this weekend though. I just don't have enough time to do it all. Anyway, okay. So that's it in terms of the comments. I think I got everything. I've always known those are blind nuts. Yep. Blind nuts, T-nuts, claw nuts, whatever. You got to search for the term that gives you the result, right? Okay. The first subject of the day is asshats. I'm going to tell you guys something. I saw something over the weekend that really, really got me annoyed. It wasn't over the weekend. It was during the week. If you follow football in the U.S., we have Thursday night football, and on the Thursday night football game, it's actually hosted by Amazon Prime. We had the Ravens, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Cincinnati Bengals. They were playing in Baltimore, and during the game, somebody decided it would be a good idea to fly their drone over the stadium, and the game actually had to take a timeout. Now, I'm going to preface everything I'm about to say with I don't have any real idea if this was sanctioned or not. I'm going to go with not, because the referees actually called a timeout on the game, and they called it for administrative purposes. and it was the drone. So here's the deal. For these guys that fly and do what we see here on this video, this picture right there was at a professional football game over a stadium, allegedly crowded, based on what you could see on the television. It was crowded. And what do? They fly their drones. These are the asshats you get to thank for things like remote ID. These are the asshats. Now, you may say, well, it's water under the bridge, sunk costs, already done. What can we do about it now? I'm going to tell you guys what you can do about it now, because honestly, I've been keeping my mouth shut about this for too long, and it's finally time for me to say something. The first thing I'm going to tell you is that when you get out on YouTube and you see people that are violating the rules, you have to call them out. You have to call them out, and you don't subsidize it with your views and your clicks and all of that stuff. And the reason is because the more you support this type of behavior, the more people will do it, right? The more they'll do it. And let me give you an example. I did the battery fire video, right? We did the lipo fire video, and that video, got a lot of hits, and it's still getting a lot of hits. And as a result of your behavior, watching my video burning batteries, I'm going to do another one. Why? That juicy YouTube money, man. That's why. Because we get paid, right? We get eyeballs, we get paid, and we're trying to draw content to our platform. And for my reasons, it's always educational, right? I don't do gratuitous battery burning. There's got to be some educational redemption benefit behind it. But it's your behavior that dictates results. And when you see that behavior, that is some asshat on YouTube that's going to post that video, and they're going to get views. Your job as the viewer and the consumer and as a responsible hobbyist is to admonish these people and say, hey man, that's not cool to do that. What's wrong with you? It's because of people like you that our rights are getting trampled. It's up to you to make the difference, right? I'm only one voice. You are the mass, right? You're the population. You're the ones that have to demotivate YouTubers and other personalities from behaving like that, because that's stupid. And I'll tell you something, I've said it from the very, very start. As far as I'm concerned, there is nothing that we do in this hobby that should ever cause risk to the general population. Now, it's very different if you go to a radio control field and you see them pylon racing and they're flying these things around like bullets and you stand there and watch. You're a grown adult. If you see that happening, you can say, well, I'll assume the risk, right? Because you see it, right? You're at an event where that kind of thing is happening. Same thing with the air show. The military jets that are doing crazy maneuvers close to the ground. If you're a spectator, you understand there's a risk, right? Same with going to NASCAR. Those cars can tumble. They get over the net. They come into the stands. I've seen tires go through the audience. You understand that risk, okay? People at a football game, they do not understand that risk. They're not there to assume the risk of some jackass flying a quad over their head. It's not okay. Not okay. Now, you have an obligation to do something about it, because number one, if you're a hobbyist, and I do separate the hobbyist, right? The hobbyist is someone who can pick up a radio like this and understand what the transmitter is doing, what the model configuration is doing, what these sticks are all about, and why you want to put your throttle lock over there. A hobbyist understands that stuff. The consumer doesn't. They go out and buy a DJI drone. They're probably 22 years old. Not that they have to be young, but they're not educated. They're not hobbyists. They're consumers. They go out and buy these drones, and then they do that. And as a result, we get to pay the price. But they get the money because they put it on YouTube and they put their video on and go, oh, look, I got video of the Ravens game. And people go behind them and say, oh, nice shot. No, man, that's not the answer. That's wrong. You have to call them out. You have to call them out. You have to say that's stupid. It's ignorant. It's unsafe. You shouldn't be doing that. Don't fly around people that aren't there to assume the risk. All right. So my blood pressure got up on that one because you guys know how many questions I field on RID, remote ID, for Pete's sake, and we all know the truth. You got guys like Robert who are out in the middle of nowhere flying long range FPV, doing his thing. Is he bothering people? No. Is he endangering anybody? No. So do you bother with Robert? No. I used to do that out in the deserts in Arizona. Should you bother with me? No. I'm not near any human beings. I'm not causing any risk. And I've maintained forever, man, the hobby should not cause risk to people who don't understand it. So don't get near airplanes. Don't get near airports. Don't get near stadiums filled with people. What, you know, if that thing comes down, it's going to hurt somebody, man. It's just ridiculous to think that that's okay. So anyway, that's it on that. It's a little bit of a diatribe, a little bit of a rant. And I had to do it though, man, because I could not believe my eyes that with everything that we're seeing these days on safety and all of the hobbyists saying, well, stop messing with us, stop worrying about what we're doing. And then what do we see on the freaking news in front of in the NFL at a live broadcast? Everybody in the world saw it. Some asshat put his quad over a stadium full of people. Man, that guy deserves anything he gets. I hope they find him. I hope they penalize him. I hope they cost him a whole bunch of money, and maybe he'll even get to do a little jail time to think about what he's doing, man. You can't endanger people. It's just stupid. So don't. And your job as a hobbyist is to get out there and admonish those people and tell them to knock it off. All right? You got to tell him to knock it off. Yeah, Robert does it legally too. He's got the license and all that stuff. Yeah. Thanks for clarifying, Robert. I don't want anyone to think Robert's a scofflaw. He follows the rules. But the point is he's away from people when he's doing this kind of stuff too. It's about danger. So yeah, but Robert is not a scofflaw. Thanks for clarifying. All right, that's enough about asshats. Don't be an asshat, and don't support the ones that are, man. You got to call it out. You guys have to get on the YouTube channel, leave comments, tell people, leave a thumbs down, say, man, don't put that kind of stuff on YouTube. It's not good for the hobby. It's unsafe. Shame on you. You shouldn't do it. All right, next up, FMS Black Friday. Okay, now we're going to get into some fun stuff. Okay, here we go. I've got a little, I can't put this, they gave me, okay, here's the deal. They gave me the spreadsheet. I've got the spreadsheet and I can't really like post it. I said, you don't want me to post this, do you? And they're like, no, don't post it, but you can let people know. So I wanted to let you guys know. I went through the FMS sales spreadsheet and I plucked out a couple sweetheart deals I want to let you guys know about. The link is in the description for the FMS Black Friday event. And I just wanted to point out a couple of things that are going on. And by the way, I also want to clarify one other thing. I don't like, they don't tell me everything. So you might go to their site and find some extra sales stuff that's going on that I don't know about. This is what I do know about. Okay. I'm trying to be clear. I'm not saying this is all inclusive. It's just what I do know about. Okay. So, first up, they have a sale going on and they've got a 70mm Viper for $30 off. So 10%. That one's okay. It's not great. It's not huge. It's not a huge discount. Pretty good. But that Viper is a nice model. And I think that one will probably be real similar in flying style to the Futura. So that one's a good one. But they also have a sale coming up next week. So it's a list of events coming up. It looks to me like they're doing a lot of work in the 800mm class. So they're heavily discounting some of those. I guess they want to move those out. But next week, they've got that 850mm flash. That's the fast mover, 28% off. So $50 you can save on that one. If you're into that airplane, $50 off, 28% discount on that one. They're also going to be doing the F-18 F 70mm, a lot like the F-16, same scale. $40 off on that one, 12% off. They're going to have the 1100mm Typhoon for $30 off, 12%. And then they're also doing the 800mm P-51, T-28, and the Japanese A6 M30, $20 to $30 off on those, somewhere between 12 and 19%. So check out the website next week at FMS and grab yourself one of those if you want. These are the advertised ones. So that's the first page. The next page, this is where the good stuff is. The really this is serious business. The flash sales. Again, this is not published. All right. I'm giving you guys, this is inside information, right? We're not trading on the stock exchange, so it's not regulated. I think we'll be okay. I'm just kidding. I know we'll be okay. Anyway, the flash sales, here's the magic information, right? On 11/20, 11/22, and 11/24 at 2200 Eastern time, that's 10 o'clock for you non-24-hour clock people. So 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, they have the 800mm T-28 for $99. That's $60 off. And here's the deal. There's only 3 of them. So the flash sale is going to go fast. There's only 3 of them. So if you want the 800 millimeter T28, $99. That's the cart price, the checkout price, $99. 1122, the pits, 3 of these, $120 off. That's a pretty good deal. $229 for a plug and play pits. $120, man, $120 off. That's a good one. 3 of those available. And here's another really good one. I might even get in on this action. This is 1124 at 2200 Eastern. They got the 1700 millimeter PA-18 Cub, $179, $100 off. No floats on that one, okay? So no floats. I'm just letting you guys know, mark your calendars, put a reminder on Siri. These are the sales that are coming up. This is where the cool kids get information. You just found it, all right? So FMS flash sales are coming up. Be ready. And keep an eye on their site, because like I said, I'm not saying this is all inclusive. I'm just saying this is what I know about. Okay. So make sure you get out there on Black Friday, because FMS, man, they swing for the fences with their sales. They're always doing something. So make sure you check that out. All right. I'm checking the comments. I don't see anything I have to stop on. Robert says, I only had to do it because we have the same problem up here. You gotta call this stuff out on YouTube, man. Hey guys, hello from Edmonton, California. We had 13-degree Fahrenheit day. Incredible for mid-November. Ooh, 13-degree Fahrenheit. Oh my gosh, that's wrong. It's 70 here right now. 70 degrees. Oof. All right, digital microscope. You guys are going to get a preview. This is going to be a production video, but I'm going to give you guys a preview look, because when I've actually looked at one of these, man, I think 6 times, and it's one of those deals where I haven't bought one because they're a little spendy. I've been on the fence. That's all I can say. It depends on the microscope. I've been on the fence about it. I've thought about it several times. I've almost pulled the trigger several times, and I haven't done it. But this time, this is a sponsored video. So I'm going to back this out. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you guys get a better look. And again, this will be a production video. This will be production. And I'm going to give you guys the first look, though. So, and I'm actually, I don't know yet. I don't know yet if this allows me to take video out from the monitor, but I think it does, which could be really interesting for doing things like soldering and looking at very small receiver setups or chips on boards and stuff like that. So here we go. Here is a first look at this digital microscope. Again, this will be a production video. I've opened the lid and I've kind of looked a little bit, but I have not unboxed it. So there's the instruction sheet, a little components list. By the way, this is another one. Okay, I got to backpedal. Normally, I reserve this kind of thing for the patrons, but it's the holidays and I'm in a generous mood for everybody. So I figured I'd take it one ring out and go to the PilotJam and share this with you guys on the PilotJam. What I would say is that the affiliate link for this is in the description. If you buy one, the channel gets a little bit of a kickback. It really annoys me that we have to spell that out every time. I'm not mental about it, but you do have to tell people if it's an affiliate link, the channel is eligible for a small commission that's paid by the seller. It doesn't cost you extra. The seller pays it, but I don't know what the deal is with that. I guess there's probably a lawsuit. But anyway, links in the description. I can assure you, once I do the production video, I don't think these will last. So this one, just a quick look at what's going on. If you're not sure what a digital microscope is, all they really do is they attach a camera to a monitor and they treat it like the microscope. So the camera is right here and it's got a couple of different lenses. There's the camera. And it's got a couple of different lenses that allow you to do zoom, and these lenses get real small. So I think, and oh, there is an HDMI. Where did it go? It's hiding. There it is. There's the HDMI port, and I'm kind of hoping that lets me take HDMI out so that I can put it in a video stream, which I think would be really super cool to be able to pipe this into my streaming software. That's what I'm hoping for. And of course, you know, here's the other problem, right? I have to wear these now. It'd be really nice to be able to ditch those doing small electronics work and just have it all on a nice big 10-inch screen right in front of my face. So this will be a production video. It should go off this weekend, probably Sunday. Sunday is probably when I expect to do like a first look, unbox, and all that. But it's got the cables. It's got a little remote control. It also has, I saw in the exploded view, there's an SD card. So apparently you can take images and record your images, which is super, super cool, man. I'm very excited about this. And I don't know. I'm not going to go through all of it. Oh, there are some of the lenses. Look at that. That is a 90 millimeter to 300 millimeter object distance. So a couple of different lenses. I know one of them is macro for zooming in. It's got a little charge brick. It's got some remote hands to hold things steady for you. So yeah, digital microscope. It'll be, again, affiliate link in the description if you'd like to get one. And I can assure you, they're already down to 12. When I last checked, they were down to 12. So if you're interested in something like this, especially if you're getting a little bit older and you got to wear the spectacles to help see everything in front of you, this might be a really nice little Christmas treat for yourself, right? So there you go. That is a first look at the digital microscope. I'm very excited about this one. I think this is going to be a really cool little capability to add. There's a look at what it looks like when it's finished right there. So you got this plate, you got your microscope, you put your object down, you can take a look at things up close. I'm super excited about this. I'm telling you, I've been on the fence on one of these, I think a half a dozen times. And every time I thought about buying one, I bought an airplane or something instead, or a battery, or a radio or something. But I wanted to give you guys on the PilotJam a first look at that. Again, I normally reserve that kind of thing for the patrons and give them the early access. But like I said, it's the holidays, man. I was feeling a little generous. I decided to spread the wealth a little bit. The microscope will come in handy next time Hobie's over there and he's looking for a thought. Oh, snap. Wow. That was, I don't even know what to make about that, Robert. Dang, man. Savage. Shorts and a t-shirt year-round for us in Floridians. Well, I'll wait for Hobie to get back to Robert on that one. Okay, so that's a digital microscope. All right, next up. I told you we had content. Oh, bad air plugs long-term. Okay. All right. We have stuff to show you on the bad air plugs. You know, whenever we do videos as YouTubers, we show you what we see out of the box, right? We get these products and we show you what we see. The problem is that right out of the box, things normally work the way they're supposed to. Normally, not always, normally. And what we end up doing is we don't oftentimes come back to tell you over a period of time what we think about the long-term performance of a device that we might be utilizing. So I thought what I would do, because I've been using these bad air plugs quite a bit. If you're not familiar, these are bat air plugs. And all they do is they connect to your balance extension. And they have different sizes. They've got 6S, 5S, 4S, all the way down to 2. Okay. But you connect and make sure you get the size for your battery, because I think like the 6S and 5S are the same thing, but the 4S might be different. It's something like that. So just be aware and just search for bat air plug. I actually don't have a link for these. You'll just have to Google these. Buddy RC carries them for sure. Anyway, you put them on your balance lead and then you pair them with your phone, and I'll show you a couple of reasons why I like them. So one of the big reasons is that if I pick this battery up and I say, okay, where's this battery? I press that button and over here, I'll get a little indicator right there. You see that purple? It says that's the battery. So I touch the screen and that pulls up information about this battery. It shows me when I configured it, what the discharge rate is, what my charge rate is. Here's one I really like, how many cycles I've put on the battery. So this gives me an idea as we evaluate batteries over their lifespan. If this one starts to puff, I can compare it to where we are on cycle count with other batteries. So I really like that to give me an idea on how my batteries are performing over time. It also gives me an idea of how long I've had the battery, which is also kind of important to know, because you know, I may look at one and say, man, I've had that battery for 2 years. I've only had this one for 1 year. It's time for this one to be retired, right? You can use age as a consideration when you decide which batteries you're going to fly with. So I like that feature a lot. And the other really nice feature that I like about this is that you can set an auto storage timer. And what that means is that this little bat air plug will begin to discharge the battery via the balance leads down to your storage voltage. So if you configure 3.8 volts per cell and you can set your auto storage timer to 12 hours, what happens is after 12 hours of no change, it will automatically start discharging down to 3.8 volts per cell. Now, let's call a spade a spade. This does not have a massive heatsink. It's not meant to be a big discharger. It's not meant to discharge your battery at 15 amps. If that's your expectation, you have misplaced expectations. What this does is trickle discharge. So it'll sit and discharge for 2 days if it has to, but it will eventually get your cell voltage down to a balanced state to match your configured value here on the app. And just, case in point, I'm not sure where I stopped this battery. I don't know. But I'm going to plug it in and we'll take a look and see what it says. And there we go. There it is. 3.79199888797. So that's pretty good. And that's maintenance being performed on this battery by my little bat air plug. And it's that simple. So it's a very cool little feature. One thing I will tell you is it does not charge. So if your voltage is a little bit lower than your configured value, say 378 or whatever, I don't know why that's fluctuating so much, but if it's a little bit lower, it won't charge it. Obviously, it can't do that. And then also, by the way, of course, you can see the voltage per cell on the app on the phone. So that's why I like these. Now, in terms of long-term review, here's what I have to say about them. They always seem to work. Like I did firmware updates. I configured them, installed them. They always seem to work. I only have one gripe about them right now, and that's it. And maybe you've seen it, maybe you didn't catch it, but this one lost its little rubber button. See that button right there? That popped off somewhere along the lines. I actually found it one time and put it back in, and it popped off again. So that's really the only gripe I have. I can still actually hit the button. It's not as convenient. Maybe I need to use a pencil. The good news is you don't normally have to hit the button too much unless you're searching for the battery. So I would say other than the fact that that little rubber button popped off the top, they've been working really well. I mean, it's one of those things over long term. And you can see last time I activated 190 days. It's been 6 months at least. And that's just this one. I'm sure I probably have some in here that are older. And as you can see, looking at my list, I put all my 6-cell batteries on here, all of them. All my 6-cell batteries go on this bat air. And the reason for that is because I do want to spend a little extra effort on maintenance on 6-cell batteries because they are more expensive. Okay. The 2200 3 cells, I really don't care. They're $10. That's a consumable. I spend $10 going back and forth to the field and getting a couple of drinks and a sandwich. So I don't, the 3-cell batteries don't really care, but the 6 cells, they are more expensive. So for them, I do want to do a little bit of maintenance, and there it is. So I figured we'd do a long-term review on the bat air plugs and give you a look at how they're doing. And my answer as to how they're doing is they seem to be doing quite well. I'm very pleased with them, and I'm happy I have them, and I will keep buying them as well. So that's it. Let me check the comments before we move into the next segment. Let's see. That scope looks pretty cool. Awesome. You know what the word E-winter? No. Okay. Yes. Mosquitoes are bad this time of year. What mosquitoes? Ours are dying off. If I have to put a pair of jeans on, it's too cold. Yeah. I'll tell you what, man, it does get a little cool. I like it when it gets cool enough to wear jeans and a jacket. Robert says that microscope will come in handy next time. Yeah, we covered that one. We're having some fun burns over here in chat. Yeah, I see that. That's good. At least I'm using it for a thought, not something else. Oh no, I had to be polite and say okay. You guys are having at it. Hit the like button. That's right. Become a patron. That's right. Little's $3 a month. Help the content keep coming. So thanks, Hobie, for bringing that up. And I do want to give a shout out to all my patrons. Thank you guys for helping me with the channel. I appreciate those of you who are willing to open up your wallets and help me do things like buy bat air plugs so I can evaluate them and tell you what I think over a period of time on whether or not you should get them. So the patrons help with that, and I do appreciate you guys. If you guys want to help out, patreon.com/RCVReviews. I have a tier for as low as $3 a month. So it's like a Starbucks or a beer. If you want to help out, that's great. I appreciate it. And for those of you who are already doing so, I do appreciate you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm here all week. Tell your friends. All right. Fast Freddy. Yeah, for as little as the price of a cup of coffee, unless you get your coffee from Starbucks. Hey, man, you're not wrong. Starbucks is spendy. Jesus, my wife has a Starbucks habit, but dude, she doesn't need to hear about that from you guys, all right? So just chill. Buy a guy a beer. That's right. Okay. Very good. Very good. You guys are having fun with the burns. Let's keep that up. It's good side banter. Next up is, do we cover? Yeah, we're in order. Okay. The Corsair is next. I keep dragging the Precious out there. Let me bring the overhead camera up. I wanted to give you guys another one. You haven't seen the video yet. The guys on Discord know about this. The patrons know about it, but here we go. We have a Corsair. Now, it's a little weird to show it to you in this format, so I'm just going to zoom out a little bit, and here's what I wanted to show you about the Corsair. So this is another FMS plane. I have not done the unbox yet, or the first look. I don't like calling it unboxes because unboxing is stupid. It just, who likes to watch stuff get unboxed? I don't. I hate it. So that's why I always take them out of the box off camera so you don't have to watch that part and hear all the stupid plastic rattling around. Anyway, what I wanted to show you, a couple of interesting things about this one. It's got the wingtip lights on the Corsair. The decals are already applied, and I love the stars and bars on a Corsair, right? What's not to love about the color of a Corsair? And then on the bottom, this is what I wanted to show you guys. I wanted to give you the first look at this because I've done other Corsairs, and I think FMS took it up a step with this one because check this out, man. They have flaps. Look at that. There are the flaps, and you can see this little... There's a little plastic joiner right here in the middle for the 3 sections for the gull wing. Isn't that cool? By the way, Corsair is another one of my favorite planes. I've always loved the Corsair. Always had a soft spot for it. And also check out the gear door on this one. That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. And you can see it's got the bomb rack too. So this one will be coming up as a first look video, maybe Sunday, maybe Monday. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. But that's the Corsair. I wanted to give you guys a quick look at that one because this one's got the flaps, it's got the retracts. This is yeah, this is definite warbird territory, and it's got a 4-bladed prop too. 4-bladed prop, and you have to assemble the prop. It's one of those where the blades are individual. So I just wanted to give you guys a quick peek at that one because the Corsair will be coming up soon. Will not be flying this weekend, unfortunately. I already have all the space and time is accounted for in terms of flying and transporting aircraft to the field. So I will not be able to fly that one at the field this weekend. But you know what? Next weekend is Thanksgiving week, and I'll have some time to fly. We'll see. Maybe we'll try and get some video of it next week if that's possible. Everyone loves the Corsair. I love the Corsair, man. It's one of the coolest looking planes, no doubt about it. And they look so cool flying in the air too. And the ground handling is not too bad. Mustangs are a little bit of temperamental on ground handling, but Corsairs tend to be pretty good. They tend to be pretty reasonable. At least my experience with them so far. So anyway, there's the Corsair. FMS Corsair coming up. Let's see. Before I move on, I got to check something real quick. On the Corsair, I did want to show you guys one other thing. I meant to bring this up when we were talking about the pits. Remember when I mentioned the size of the pits? There it is right there. This gives you a pretty good idea of what I'm talking about in terms of how these biplanes take up space. Look at the size of the pits compared to the F-16 and the Futura, which are right there in the frame, and even the Avanti, which is an 80-millimeter jet. I mean, they're big. They take up a lot of space. That was my point. Now, obviously, a 78-inch Extreme Flight takes up a lot of space too, but that's a big airplane. The Pitts is a, what, 55-inch or something? It's not a huge wingspan plane, but man, does it take up some space. It takes up space on the rack too. And this is the reason. I wanted to share that picture with you guys to give you the reason why I don't do more bipes. And that's it. It's because they take a lot of space up on the rack and they take a lot of space to transport. But man, I love hate, man. I kind of really want them. I guess I need a bigger garage. I'm gonna need you patrons to up your money a little bit. I need a bigger garage. I need a bigger workspace. All right. That's it for that. The hangar. All right. So let's see. Oh, Stephen Harris hit the tip jar. Appreciate that, Stephen. Thank you very kindly. Hobie says, looks like it should be in my hangar. Hobie, yeah, he likes those Corsairs too. You got that Dynam. Did you get that Dynam put back together, Hobie? Hope so. Looks like a Corsair wing. Steven is not wrong. Everyone loves a Corsair. Patrick Henry, Baba. Yeah, man. Baba Black Sheep. That's right. Robert Conrad. You know what's funny about watching that series, Patrick? I went back. I actually have that series on Plex. I went back and watched it, and it was so corny. When I was a kid, I thought Robert Conrad and Pappy Boyington were the cat's meow, man. That was the coolest man on the planet. But going back and watching it now, it's a little hokey. But Robert Conrad, man, he's always Robert Conrad, right? Steven says, "Oh my God, my collection is weak." well, you don't have no idea, man. I've given away that hanger at least once. E-Flight just released a little UMX Waco that looks pretty cool. Okay, I'll take your word for it. All right, next up, we will take a look at Edge TX 2.9 331 for Express LRS. Cool. Okay. So here we go. Let's take a look at the workspace. And on the workspace, man, it's almost like I had this set up already. I did want to point this one out to you. Now, you guys know that I'm not one to jump on the upgrade bandwagon right away. But these minor releases, like in this case, it's .2. Take a look at the changelog. Always take a look at the changelog. The big one in here that I saw, and they put a special warning label up top, was there's a bug in the behavior of the delay mixer option, and it's been fixed. So keep an eye on that. And then they actually had a couple of other pretty good ones. This is the refactor for the mixer. They added over-the-air support for flashing and configuring newer FreeSky receivers on Access ISRM radios. So if that's a thing for you, it's not for me, but if it is for you, there you go. A don't update, therefore deleting some settings, YAML files on SD card if the radio's in emergency mode. That seems like a pretty good idea. And a handful of others. I'm not going to go through every one of these, but what I would encourage you to do is take a look at the changelog. And if there's something in here that, oh, look at that. They fixed the calibration values for the 6-position switch in Companion. Interesting. So if there's something in here that's meaningful to you, then consider upgrading. But I always recommend giving it a little bit of time first. Like give it a week or two. Make sure there are no crazy reports coming back, like suddenly we're going into emergency mode or whatever. Just check first before you jump on the upgrade bandwagon. But I did want to let you know, in case you weren't aware, that 292 for Edge TX is now out. And we've got Express LRS 3.3.1. I've already upgraded my production radio, so I've got 2.9.2 and Express LRS 3.3.1 on my production radio. As I read their changelog on this one, I'm always amazed at how many different issues they seem to be able to find when I think everything's working pretty much perfect. Everything looks like it's working great to me, and they still manage to find stuff. It looks like they fixed some issues around listen before talk. So for those of you in the EU under that domain for your firmware, that might be meaningful to you. And they also fixed a listen before talk fallback mode, and they fixed and optimized a broken FM30 target and a handful of others. So again, keep an eye on the changelog. 3.3.1 for Express LRS is out. If you need to upgrade, there you go. Now you know, and knowing is half the battle. I've heard. That's what I'm told by G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe said that, right? That was actually a thing in the cartoons after I stopped with the G.I. Joe when I was a kid. Are we skipping stuff? I feel like I'm skipping something. No, I guess not. Q&A. We're already up to Q&A. Dang, man, we're coming up on 40 minutes. We're already hitting Q&A. I thought we were going to be here for 5 hours tonight. All right, Q&A. I don't see any questions that I have to address in the comments. Michael Blade clapped his hands. Thanks, Michael. Just because you were talking biplanes and pits. Okay, I guess there's nothing in there for me to address. So let's get on to Q&A. We will put this one away, and we'll bring up our Q&A. If you've never sat through a Q&A session, what I try and do is find questions that I think have broader applicability, and I'll bring them into the comments, into the Q&A section on the PilotJam, just to cover them in case more of you are interested in what's going on. So let's see, filling up tires, cute. He says, I'd love a follow-up video on this. What are your thoughts after having this set up for a while? Good question. He's asking about the 6S power plant on the 12S plane. So the AM 670 on the 70-inch slick. And I responded to him that I went out flying a week after, no cameras, just me. Took the Avanti V2 and the slick, and that's all I took, and had a fantastic day. And I think the best way I can characterize the performance of the AM670 6S setup on the Slick is that it does not, like, if you put some of the higher power setups in a hover, you can punch it and it'll like do a whole shot leaving the hover, right? It'll just accelerate going straight up. It's ballistic. Very cool. This one doesn't quite do that same kind of whole shot. It's a little slower, but it still will pull out of a hover and it still will accelerate going straight up. All I can really say is that it does everything that I know how to do. I can do crankshafts, pot tops, waterfalls, parachutes, inverted, of course, Harriers. Everything that I know how to do in 3D, this power plant can do. The only real negative is the flight time is slightly lower, and I mean just. So instead of getting 7.5 minutes, I'm getting 6 or 6.5. So slightly lower flight time, but when you balance that against the cost of a 12 SESC, 2 batteries, the weight, that's not much of a trade-off. Oh, and the convenience of just using 1 battery. So I guess the real question that I try and answer for you guys when I get a question like this is, would I do it again? If I were spending my own money and I were doing this again, the question is, would I spend my money and repeat this configuration? And the answer is yes, I would. Now, that's not to say I would do it with everything. And it's not to say that I wouldn't appreciate more power, but it's certainly a viable platform. And you don't always need to be doing whole shots out of a hover. So there's a lot of convenience in flying a 670-inch plane on a 6S battery. And that's why I would do it again, because it's a great big plane on a 6S power plant. So it's a little bit cheaper, a little bit more convenient, and it does 98% of what I get out of the planes that are configured with a higher power to weight ratio. That's the way I characterize that one. Okay. So that's it on that one. That was a good question. I love questions like that. That's a good one. Steve, he says, I think this video will save so much damage and very likely save lives. Cheers, lads. You know, I got to tell you guys on this one, and I see I got a little bit of an overhang. What is going on? There it is. I got a little bit, you know, during the video, I think a lot of people missed the point of the video because a lot of the conversation went around fire chemistry and that wasn't what we were testing. It didn't matter how or why the batteries were burning. What we were trying to do is figure out, do the bags work? And that's literally in the title. It says, do LiPo bags work? It says it right in the title, it says it on the thumbnail. And the answer to that question is yes. And that's what I love about Steve's comment, right? Is he understood the nature of the video. Sure, it's fun to debate, you know, how does it burn? Why does it burn? What can you use to put it out? I get all that. You know, it's fun to talk about it. But that wasn't the purpose of the video. The purpose of the video was, do the bags buy you any time? And Dave, very early in the video, said, this is about the bags. And that was correct. That was the point. It was about the bags. So anyway, Steven, nice comment. I think you're right on the money. It is good information. Hopefully you took something out of it, and hopefully as a result of watching this video, you're now safer than you were before. That's what I care about the most. So the chemistry and all that, that's fun. You know, it's fun educational information, but it wasn't the point. The point was the bags. So a lot of talk. We had a lot of fire marshals come out of the woodwork and tell us about fire safety. All right, let's see. Photos by Nickel. All this does is make me want to go back to a Spectrum transmitter. This Edge TX stuff is too complicated for me. So this guy puts a comment first off in a setup video asking if I would do a setup for a helicopter. Then he finds the helicopter setup video and says, I'm going back to Spectrum. All right, makes me want to go back to Spectrum. It's too complicated. My response to that is, I would encourage you guys to think of it this way. Let's just think about it like this. If you are going to go become a licensed pilot, they don't hand you the keys to an F-16 and say, okay, go do 3 bounces, and if you survive, we'll sign off. That's not the way it works. What they do is they give you a Cessna 152, they send you up with an instructor for a while, they teach you how to do landings, how to do stalls, how to do minimum controllable airspeed, how to recover from bad attitudes, how to troubleshoot engine problems, how to plan your fuel, how to navigate. And once you've proven those things out, then they bring you back to the airport. And this is, you know, you're 20 hours in, 15 hours in. I think I soloed at 13 hours. So you're 13 hours of flying in, And then the instructor gets out of the plane and says, okay, go do 3 touch and goes and come back. And if you don't kill yourself in a 152, then you've soloed and you get to move on with your training. If you do kill yourself, then your family gets to have a funeral, collect an insurance policy, and the whole pilot experiment's over. Okay. So that's the way it works. Now, when it comes to the radios, it's a little dramatic, but when it comes to the radios, why on earth would you take a brand new firmware like Edge TX, as powerful as Edge TX is, and literally pick up the hardest thing to configure in model aviation, which is a helicopter, and then try and configure it day one, and then say, well, I'm uncomfortable learning new things, I'm going to go back to Spectrum. Okay, fine. It's your money, your hobby, do whatever makes you happy. I don't care. It's not like I get a commission every time someone installs Edge. That's not the way it works. But my argument is maybe consider starting with something a little more simple while you learn the fundamentals of the radio. Like, is that possible? Why? Just like you don't go out and start flying on an F-16 day one, you start in a Cessna 152. Maybe instead of configuring a helicopter with idle ups and straight throttle curves, combined pitch and throttle, normal mode, idle up 1, idle up 2 modes, rescue mode, angle mode, rate bank modes, and all the other things that go along with a helicopter, gain for your gyro, heading lock mode, right? Instead of doing all that, why not start with something a little more simple until you learn the radio? And then I can guarantee you, here's the promise that I would make. Let me wrap this up in a tidy little bow. The promise that I would make is that once you learn the fundamentals of Edge TX, how do the inputs work? How does the mixer work? How do the outputs work? And then you learn a little bit about logical functions and special functions, which are easy because there's a lot of videos on there. Once you do that, then what'll happen is there's a little light bulb in your head that's going to go on like a cartoon. You're going to go ding. Oh, I get it. And then once you get it, then you're unstoppable. Then you can configure any helicopter you want. You can configure any quad you want. You'll be unstoppable. That much I promise you. But you have to be willing, instead of having this instant gratification mindset, like I got to have it right now, instead of doing that, be willing to train, be willing to study, be willing to watch a video and learn and teach yourself a little bit. And then I would also encourage you, get on Discord. We have I think one of the best communities on the entire internet in our Discord. Get on our Discord if you are stuck on some particular thing and ask for help. We have so many people on our Discord that are willing to offer help, including Edge TX developers, myself, and all these guys that are commenting in the chat that understand how Edge TX works. But to me, this is almost like a temper tantrum, right? When you say stuff like this, it's like a temper tantrum. It almost comes off as childish. So if you want to go back to Spectrum and keep way overspending your money and having a very limited ecosystem of software and hardware, go ahead. I don't care. Go ahead. It's your money, your hobby, do your thing. But if you want to, avoid the instant gratification mentality and invest a little bit in yourself, your reward will be an amazing hardware ecosystem, some of the best firmware you can get your hands on, and some of the best RF tech that's available in the hobby today at like bargain basement prices. It's like one of the best kept secrets in the hobby. So that's my response to photos by nickel. All right, let's see. Nazar Kokan says, if you have a cell error, you can just replace, fuse, or completely remove it. I fixed 2 chargers that way. This is on the B6 Neos. Let me tell you guys something. These chargers, man, they don't die. They won't die. They won't freaking go away. People, this comment was left a day ago. My response is real simple. This charger is a piece of junk. It should be avoided. It should be shunned. And people who know better should be leaving comments and reviews on the retail websites telling everybody, don't buy this thing. It's a piece of junk. Because everyone that spends their $35, they're rewarding bad behavior. The company knows the damn fans fail. Everyone knows that they're getting cell connection error failures. This guy says, hey, just pop off the screen, replace the fuse or bypass the fuse altogether, and then glue your screen back on so it's crooked and never looks right again, and then you'll be fine. Why should I do that when I buy a product? I shouldn't have to do that. This product should have a reasonable. I'm not that so conservative that I say, oh, this thing should last me for 19 years. No, if it lasted me a year of regular use, I'd accept that. I'd be like, okay, fine. I paid $35 for it. It's a cheap charger. Last me a year. Fine. I'll just buy another one, $35, right? Right? Isn't that reasonable? But to die within a week, it's a piece of crap. And you guys need to tell people it's a piece of crap. Leave comments. Get out on those retail websites and tell them, man, don't buy this thing. Avoid it. It's a piece of junk. Other people in the hobby are spending their money on this thing, and I'm seeing the comments come in, and it just makes me stressed out. And do you think my video got posted? No, it didn't. It got removed. I submitted mine for as a review. Like, here, if you want to know the truth about these, watch this video. Yeah, that one didn't pass. So you guys need to get out there and let people know. I think of the first 3 reviews I read on race day quads, the third one said, my fan started making noise right away. I'll have to keep an eye on it. Like, these things are a piece of crap, man. Anyway, next question. Rodeo Pilot, great review. Are you planning on making a step-by-step tutorial and setting up the reflex gyro? For some reason, I couldn't even download their software, and I tried. Okay, listen. Here's the deal on the Reflex V2. This is one of those things where I kind of like, at first I was like, what the hell? And then after using several of them, I'm like, oh, okay, I kind of get it. The simple answer on the Reflex V2 is there's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. They come configured. There is no remote master gain. And every single one of them that I've tried worked in the correct manner, right? Not saying like on one of them, the gain was a little too high. I think on that Flash or something, the gain was a little too high. So for that reason, I would like it if they did. But for all the regular planes, every normal fixed wing plane that I've flown with a Reflex V2, it just worked. So they're already configured and set up to work correctly. You don't need to change the configuration on the Reflex V2. Here's the thing I'll tell you about the Reflex V2. And I didn't learn this until I got my first FMS plane with a Reflex V2 that had retracts. So normally the Reflex V2 gyro uses channel 5 for mode, unless you have an FMS plane with retracts. If you have an FMS plane with retracts, they use channel 5 for the retracts, and they move the mode switch to channel 7, and no, it's not configurable. It's weird. It's a little annoying. It took me a little bit of time to figure that out. I remember the first time I was dealing with that, I'm like, why in the hell is my channel 5 not changing the mode? Why is it not changing the mode? I was so frustrated. I finally wound up moving my mode switch to every single channel. I copied my mode switch and put it on every single channel, and lo and behold, it worked. Then I narrowed it down and said, okay, they moved it to channel 7. And then later on, I found out it's because it had retracts. Outside of that little hiccup and the remote master gain, which is needed on a fast mover like the Flash, you really don't need to do anything to configure it. It just works. Okay? So that's the answer for that one. All right, let's see. Lexicase says, I keep my lipos in a steel ammo can from the military surplus store. They're dirt cheap. They can keep ammo safe. I'm sure they can contain a few lipos. See, the problem, I disagree with that. And I'm going to tell you why. If you've ever loaded an M16 round into an ammo can, let alone a belt of them, or an M60 round into an ammo can, I got a news flash for you. That freaking can is not going to hold that freaking bullet, okay? That's not what it's for. That bullet, if that thing lets go, man, that can, I wouldn't want to be around it because it's going to turn it into a freaking grenade, all right? So let's clear that one up right away. The can isn't going to contain the bullets. What the can is meant to do is to keep the bullets from getting ignited from an outside source that hammers the firing pin. That's what the can's for. It's so you don't have your ammo loose in the Humvee bumping around on the ground or in the helicopter, putting the ammo at risk of getting accidentally discharged. But the damn can is not going to stop an M60 round from going right through your face. Okay, that's just not what it's for. Now, with that said, we are going to test the ammo cans because a lot of people said, hey, I use ammo cans. Do they work? And so we need to test that, right? We need to find out, how do they hold up? I already think I know the answer. They're probably going to maybe discolor a little bit. They might get a little bit hot. They're going to smoke like the devil. And if they're sealed, they might eventually make a bang. So the objective would be to make sure they're not sealed. And that's it. I'm sure with that out of the way, the ammo can will be just fine. But yeah, we do intend on testing the ammo cans. We saw a lot of comments about ammo cans, so we are going to give those a shot. Okay, so that is it on the ammo cans. I love the ammo can. Oh yeah, I can put M60 rounds in my ammo can and they're just fine. No. That's wrong. All right, Danny FPV. I know because I used to shoot a freaking M60 in the military. Okay, so I had a door gun in my helicopter. I'm qualified. I'm checked out. I would not assume that that ammo can is going to keep that M60 contained. All right, because I know what an M60 does when it hits metal too. All right, how do you feel about parallel charging? I love it, but I've started to realize it's not great on the cells. Okay, this is another one of those mystery. It's like mystery fun meat things. It's like eating a freaking meatloaf and not knowing who made it and what meat was inside it. Okay, listen. There's nothing wrong with parallel charging. Full stop. Full stop. Nothing wrong with parallel charging. It works. The question is not whether or not you can parallel charge. The question is, do you do it correctly? Okay. You have to understand the concept of voltage. Voltage, there are differentials. You can have something at 1 volt and something at 2 volts. If you have something at 1 volt and connected to something at 2 volts, the something that's at 2 volts is going to try and make the thing at 1 volts equal to it. So the current's going to flow toward the 1 volt thing. Parallel charging is all about getting your cells balanced nearly identically first. But even if they're off a little bit, it's fine. When you connect them, what's immediately going to happen is all of the other cells that are connected in parallel are going to bring the cell that's low up to their level. That's what's going to happen. It's almost like filling up a bunch of cups of water until they all overflow at the same time. It's kind of the same concept, okay? So parallel charging is fine. There's nothing wrong with parallel charging. In fact, I would even argue that if you parallel charge, your batteries probably would be better on average over time. Probably. Because they'll be forced to stay. If you think about the law of averages, right? If you have 5 other cells telling one cell it's wrong, that one cell will tend to average out. It'll come back. It'll come back to where it's supposed to be, right? In terms of voltage. So there's nothing wrong with parallel charging. It is not hard on the cells. It doesn't cause the cells any additional problems. The main thing to understand about parallel charging is you don't want to do things like connect cells that are wildly out of sync. Like you don't connect a 4.2 volt cell to a 3.9 volt cell. You might get some sparks. You're going to get an instant current flow. Those are all bad things, right? So you got to be close. But once you're close, within, a 1/10 of a volt or so, maybe no, not a 1/10, we'll call it 0.05 of a volt or so, then you can connect them and they're fine. They'll just balance each other out and you can charge and you're good to go. It's fine. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with parallel charging. All right. All right. That brings us back up to the top. I'm going to check comments before I get going and get on to the next subject. Then we'll get moving. Let's see. Hello from St. Louis, says Torpedo Law. Welcome. MQ-25 autonomous tanker from Boeing. Check it out. Every naval carrier in the United States will have one in 2025. You know what I've been watching, speaking of new developments, is those Ukrainians with their drones, their naval drones. Those things are devastating. They're using, I think the Ukrainians are going to have a cottage military industry of drone warfare when this is all over, I think. TX-16 is the best. I agree. It's good radio. I fly for fun, says full-size pits are a pain to hangar with outer planes too. I guess, man, they're big, right? They could take up a lot of space. Patrick Henry says, wish I could have started on Edge. I got hooked up with a budget Futaba plus receiver. Well, get on Edge and work your way up, man. Just spend your time working on it. You'll get there. And I'll tell you another thing too. I promise you guys, there's a moment in time with Edge TX that the light bulb just clicks. And once the light bulb clicks, you're like, oh, son of a... And then you figure it all out. Then you have to get creative doing things like logic, right? You have a little fun with logic and you play around and, make things work the way you want. You watch my videos on logic. That'll all help you out. But once you understand the fundamentals, you'll get there. The light just clicks on and then you can do anything you want. Steven says, I'm a total Radio Master guy because of your videos, John, and I say thank you. Still have a long way to go, but I love it. Well, great, Steven. I'm glad to hear that, man. You're in a good ecosystem, and I love my Radio Master and my Express LRS and definitely my Edge stuff. I mean, that to me is a really solid RF ecosystem for the hobby. No question. Budget conscious. It's cost effective, super powerful. I mean, these guys are flying 25 milliwatt 2.4 gigahertz, 30 kilometers away. It's insane. So yeah, I'll tell you, when I fly Express LRS, I do not worry about my RF link. I can tell you that. And the gimbals on the AGO ones, they're pretty awesome too. All right. Hobie says this leaves reviews for them. Tim leaves reviews for them. All right. Interesting. Thank you. I will not buy one. Hell no, not buying that crap. Cancel culture. Yeah. Don't buy the B6. It's not cancel culture when it's actually crap and it's provable. I mean, it's crap. I just don't want you guys wasting your money, man. It's crap. It's crap. And they know it's crap. I told them it's crap. They reached out to me and they're like, hey, sorry you had a problem. We like to do things the right way. And then that's it. They never came back to me. So they're, you know, I want to buy a blender. That's what I want to buy a blender. I want to put a B6 Neo in a blender on video for you guys to show the world what I think of those chargers, because I can't believe they're selling them, man. And what's worse, what bothers me the most, that people are buying them. They're wasting their money. Ryan Peace, electronics all run on smoke. Once you let the smoke out, that's right. They quit working. That's absolutely right. They do remove the air supply, the boxes. Yeah, that was another thing, Four Eyes, we got on the fire thing, is that the chemical chain reaction originates within the battery. So they're self-sustaining. We mentioned that in the video too, but even though we mentioned it, we still got corrected. So yeah, they'll burn underwater. They'll burn. Yeah. You got to break the chemical chain reaction with LiPo. David says, make sure you vent the ammo can before the test. Yes, I agree. We don't want to turn it into a bomb. Oh, and that's another thing we're going to do for the next test. We're also going to initiate. We got told that the method of initiating the fire was incorrect because punctures don't happen. Okay. Punctures do happen all the time. And again, it wasn't about the fire on the battery. It's about the bag. So next time we're going to also try initiating the fire by overcharging them. We're going to do that too. That's another one we want to try out. Spin Launch Glide says some of the RC glider manufacturers in the UK are now making drones already. Yeah, they are, man. I'm telling you, the Ukraine's going to have a cottage industry in drone warfare. They are going to be like, they're right now like considered the world experts on this. So Ryan P says, in my opinion, the purpose is to keep the O2 out. That's kind of what I thought too, but it doesn't matter. They're self-sustaining. Steven, my TX16S is the best buy I have made in the hobby. I agree. It's a good buy, no doubt. I love 5-inch drones. Okay, very good. Mark Dury says, hi all, just woke up starting from the beginning. Well, welcome, Mark. And complete crap charger. Yeah, if you want a really good charger, get the iCharger X6. Those things are still performing quite well for me. All right, I am caught up to comments, so that allows us to move on to the next subject. That was Q&A. Oh, the GPS. I wanted... What? Hold on. I have it. There it is. I found it. I wanted to share this with you guys because I covered this in my Amazon video, and I actually kind of like this thing. In the Amazon video, I showed this little GPS that I got, and I'm going to show it to you guys again in case you missed the Amazon video. So this little GPS, it's 62 grams. It's about, you know, my hand's normal. You guys all know what the radio looks like. There you go. There's a good reference for you on the radio. So 62 grams. If you put the back on, it's 65 grams. So a couple more grams. But here's what I love about it. It has your now speed, which in the airplane, that's not very useful, but you press this button and you can do the average speed and you can do the max speed. So what's cool about this, I wanted to know how fast the Futura is compared to the Avanti. So now what I really like about this is the use case for this is so simple. You grab it out of your box, stick some Velcro on the back. Maybe I'll make a 3D print to cover the back and we'll stick a Velcro on there and make a clip or something. But anyway, you turn it on, you drop it in the plane, and you wait for the GPS to get the signal, and you go fly. Yes, it's 62 grams of extra weight. Put in a smaller battery for one flight, you know, whatever. We're testing, so it's okay. Add a little bit of a test equipment, take it out in the form of reducing your battery weight if you have to. And then go fly the plane, do your test runs, and you get your now speed, you get your average speed, and you get your max speed. And then check this out. If you press this button, which is the config button, watch the bottom. It goes from time and distance. It also goes to total, your odometer, and your altitude in feet, which I think is really cool. So it's neat little, it's 29 bucks. And all the RC versions of these, like the Sky RC one, they're 70. with the one difference that I know of is the Sky RC logs data. This one does not log data, but it's got its own battery. It's rechargeable with a stupid USB micro. Where the heck is the charge port? There it is. It's a USB micro instead of a USB-C, unfortunately. Apparently not everyone in China got the word that John doesn't like USB micro anymore. We want everything to be USB-C. But anyway, USB micro. And yeah, $29. You can check out the speed of your models, your cars. You want to, if you're racing the off-road electric, you want to see how fast your buggy, your truck is, man, that's a cool little way to find out. And just a piece of Velcro, and you stick it on and off you go. I might make a little 3D clip for this. That might be a good idea. Something to slide it in and make it easy to strap to the battery Velcro or something like that. So anyway, it's the Psych Plus. Links in the description for that one too. All right, let's see. Which charger? The B6 Neo. Seen an RC heli put the main shaft into a LiPo, went up in smoke. Yeah, man, that's right. Puncture wounds happen. One of the very first LiPo batteries I saw was a little flight test plane. A guy landed and the battery slid forward into the blind nuts where the screws were protruding and went right into the battery, lit the whole plane on fire. I mean, saying puncture wounds don't happen to batteries is just ignorant. That's all. Let's see. Dale says, how is the Hoda F6 working out? We'll find out tomorrow, Dale. I haven't been to the field with it yet. But tomorrow it's going to the field and it's going to be charging everything for, and they're all 6S. So it's going to be charging for the Pitts, the F-16, and the Futura. So those are the 3 planes that are going. They're all 6S. The Hoda will get a workout tomorrow for sure. Torpedo Law says, ooh, yeah, where to buy? The GPS, if you're talking about the GPS, links in the description. It's a affiliate link, but links in the description for that. It's right at the top. Okay, so that's it for the GPS. Next we have coming up. So this is it. We're getting to the end of the show. Man, it's been a show tonight, huh? Hour and 15 minutes of straight talk, man. It's been going on. Hey, I just want to remind you guys one more time, if you haven't done it yet, if you're willing to help, you want to help the channel with material like John going out and getting, finding this stuff and testing it out and telling you what I think about it, patreon.com is a great way you can help. Patreon.com/RC Video Reviews. I have a tier for $3 a month. It's a cup of coffee. So feel free to join. I appreciate all the help I can get. So in terms of what's coming up, we have 3 maiden videos to do. We've got the Futura, we've got the Pitts, and we have the F-16. Those 3 are coming up. We've got an unbox video for the Corsair, a maiden for the Corsair, and a digital microscope. So that's 6 videos. Is that right? 6 videos at least right in front of me that'll be happening over the course of the next week. And that's it. That's what's coming. Plenty of material coming up. Oh, and Dave also has the X-Fly Alpha. He's going to bring that out. We want to do some speed testing too. So we'll try and see if we can do some speed testing, give you guys some numbers with the GPS, just to have a little bit of fun. So that's it. That's what we have coming up. There's a lot coming, and we're going to keep the videos on the way. And one other thing, I'm waiting for Black Friday. I'll be buying another helicopter on Black Friday. And I'm still waiting for Extreme Flight to get their stock in because I have an airplane from Extreme Flight that I need to get, and that will be coming to the hangar as well. So, man, there's more coming. That's all I can say. It's the end of the year, not the end of the videos, that's for sure. Fast Freddy says, I remember back in the day, the jam was long, so long, we used to take bathroom breaks. Yeah, that's right. 3 hours, man. I do. I used to put the bathroom breaks in there, 3 hours. That's right. They were long. They were long. All right, guys, that's all I've got for tonight. I've checked the comments. I don't really see anything that I need to cover. It looks like I think I've answered all the questions that I've seen in the chat. So with that, I think we're at a great spot to wrap it up. I hope you all had a great time on the Pilot Jam for the 17th of November. We will be having a Pilot Jam Black Friday. That's next week. So we'll be doing a Pilot Jam. Remember, get on Discord, and if you find those Black Friday deals, man, share with your RCVR crewmates. Put them in that Discord. Let everyone know. If you find a good Black Friday deal, post it. Share the wealth and go buy yours, and then share the wealth with the rest of the team so everyone knows where to go to get those deals. We will be doing a video on Black Friday. We will be doing some flying on Friday for sure. I don't know about video on Black Friday, but we'll be doing some flying, and I've got a lot of material on the way. So I hope you guys have a fantastic week. I hope you all have a lovely Thanksgiving break with the family. If you celebrate Thanksgiving inside the U.S., I hope you have a lovely Thanksgiving holiday with the fam. And we'll be getting together on Black Friday next time. Have a great weekend. You know what I'm going to say, right? Get out there and fly something. Take it easy.